Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Gaming Tangents podcast. I am a meh.
That's even like a half-assed half-ass. You're not even going full half-ass. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, across all platforms to the year 2017 and the Gaming Tangents podcast. Woo! Woo! Da, na, 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 da.
Isn't that the graduation music?
Oh, dang it. I always get those mixed up.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
You want to know something? As we all know, I tested games about 10 years ago.
Yes.
One of the games I had to test was a game called Crazy Frog Racing. I'm sure everyone's heard of it, so it was such a hit.
Oh. I do know what this is, though.
Yeah, the thing called The Most Annoying Thing in the World.
Yes.
One of the songs that kept playing as one of the tracks was the Final Countdown, and it was the Crazy Frog version. Needless to say, for some reason, that is what kept playing in my head on New Year's.
Of all things, huh?
Yeah.
How does that work? Is it just the final countdown and then ring, 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 ring?
No, he does it to the music. He's like bang, 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 bang. Oh my god, this is. It was torture on my ears. It was one of the games I didn't want to test with the audio, but since I had to test it, I had to listen to the audio.
People gave it money. It confounds me.
Yeah.
This is back in the day. Remember when you would buy ringtones? Does anybody remember buying ringtones?
Oh god, yes.
And they'd have commercials for ringtones. Just text 3325 to download this ringtone now. It's the Crazy Frog ringtone. Ding, 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 ding.
I didn't even know what that thing was until I played this game.
Oh, wow.
I had to do research on it.
It was those commercials for me that did it. And I still, same thing. Yeah. Like, where did this come from and why is it a thing that needs a commercial?
And I found a major minor problem with it that I cannot discuss only because of the clause. But I will say that I did some research on this thing and yeah, it wasn't very kid-friendly. I'll just put it at that.
So wait, so does your QA clause extend for the life of you? Like you will not discuss what you found in this game forever? Shall you both shall live?
I have no idea because I do not remember what I signed.
Oh jeez. Something tells me you're probably past the terms for an NDA on a game that's already been released.
I think so. I mean, what's it called? Well, I mean, I don't even think they even said anything about it, to be honest, but I was just like, well, okay,
Is it the fact that he's not wearing pants? Because,
the thing has a penis.
Oh.
And I found there's one in the game. It's microscopic, but I found it. I pointed it out. And
were you going in there with a magnifying glass?
Actually, yes. I was very thorough in my
clearly.
In my
explain,
findings.
Please. I'm interested in your process now.
Well, I mean, this is just me. There's a loading bar, or there was a loading screen on there, and there's a very tiny picture of the frog. And then I looked at the picture online, and it was that same picture. And the thing is, it's very small, so you don't notice it. But anybody who knows anyone who's familiar with the picture will know this, you know. So yeah, well, not a big deal. I don't think they ever made a big deal out of it. But yeah, that was the only. Aside from the game sucking, that was the only problem I found with the game.
Wow. Yeah. 2016 was terrible, but I don't know. We did have a year with Crazy Frog in it. That was a thing for a little while, and that was something people chose. It's not like we chose most of the bad things that happened in 2016, but people chose to like the Crazy Frog.
I'm going to start off this year with a little bit of news that I heard on a terrible movie that came out last year. Yes, I've come to the point where I have changed my opinion on Ghostbusters.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, before we get into this, I just want to remind people, this is the podcast where we talk about gaming's past, present, and future, and do our best to stay on topic. I am Menji, but do go on.
And I am Maverick.
Welcome to 2016.
And welcome back to 2016.
Maverick's Ghostbusters, which I now refer to, and so do my children, as Ghostbusters Answer the Call. Yeah, like any good movie, it's been renamed as it went to DVD.
Right. Because that's going to further distinct it from the train wreck that was. No, the more I think about it, it's like the more I dislike this movie. Like, at the time, I liked it for what it was, but the more I thought about it, I was like, this movie hates men. and on top of that, like I said before, they tainted the movie with all this sexist whatever thing. That's really all I could think about in the movie. I couldn't just sit back and enjoy it. I'm willing to bet if none of this shit had come up, I probably would have had my same stance. It was an okay movie. So Sony, you done f***ed up.
Yo, Sonny. I mean Sony? Sony, not Sonny. Sony.
Sony and Paul Feig and who? What's the other one's name? Amy
Pascal?
Not Amy Pascal. Thank you. Yeah, you just you won't let this girl power thing die. I mean, I get you want to do it, and that's perfectly fine, but not with an existing property that wasn't meant to be that to begin with. They want to do this with this Barbie movie. I have no stake in Barbie. I have no, that's not my thing. She wants to do it with that, fine. Go for it.
Are they still talking about it? Like, is this still a topic amongst?
Yeah, it was just brought up a Midnight's Edge. I finally got the name right. Sorry, guys.
Oh, yeah, he did like a final synopsis, huh?
Well, they did a year-end thing with Ghostbusters.
Right, I haven't watched it yet because it was pretty long.
1 hour podcast. Well, Monday Matt was on it, and I listened to Monday Matt also. So sense. I was like, and he's been very vocal about how much he dislikes the movie. Yeah, they won't let the Ghostbusters thing die. I know,
but they're still not making a sequel apparently, so it kind of died.
Before I go on with what I was trying to say, no, Amy Pascal can do the girl power thing, that's fine, but again, it makes more sense with Barbie than with Ghostbusters. The idea sounds dumb. Because it's the same kind of idea you had for Smurfs and for whatever was it, not Chipmunks. What other movie is it where it normally takes place in a fantasy world and takes place in the real world?
Oh no,
Masters of the Universe was like
that's
this.
What exactly came to my mind.
Yeah, which they wanted to do a Barbie versus He-Man cross. Why?
Words cannot express the face I'm making right now, but
yeah. Anyway, she wants to keep that going. Again, that's fine, but she's wanting to do it with these properties that aren't meant for that. Like, at least with Barbie, it makes sense, even though, like I said, the plot doesn't make sense. It sounds dumb. But going back to it, they don't want to let this Ghostbusters Answer the Call thing die.
The masochism of it all.
Well, no. I mean, just in general, it flopped, and they're still trying to, they're trying to resuscitate it somewhat with a comic book crossover with the original Ghostbusters.
Don't.
Which, if that was the idea, why didn't you do this with the freaking movie? At least it would have been honoring some of the source material.
True.
It's too late now.
It made sense, but yeah, now you've burnt that bridge. You've burnt so many bridges. Yeah. It's funny that you bring it up because,
Oh no, I was just gonna say the comic book comes out in March apparently.
Oh, so this is already set. This wasn't just throwing darts
this is happening.
An idea, good lord. So that definitely already confirms that it was a different timeline dimension, a different Earth.
Right, they're going to cross into the multiverse. Basically, is the plot, from what I understand.
The Ghostbuster-verse.
Yeah, and they already have. Apparently, they already have the it's already going wrong because, you know, the Ghostbusters are instructors at their college. The college that they were. Yeah. Egon, Ray, not Winston, Egon, Ray, Peter. Yeah, sorry. I gotta forget. I don't know. It's like, just let it die, or at least let some time pass before you do this again.
Good Lord. No. Yeah, it's funny that you bring it up, because like I was saying before the podcast, I'd actually double featured Ghostbusters 1 and 2 today. Mm-hmm. Mostly because my kid wanted to watch it, because again, well, we'll get into why, but something has re-sparked their Ghostbusters interest. And so he's like, I want to watch Ghostbusters 1 and 2. Get him. I'm like, all right. It's definitely worst ways to spend a rainy afternoon, so.
Oh yeah, aren't you guys supposed to have a torrential downpour right now?
It was pretty bad in the afternoon. Right now it's pretty quiet. That doesn't mean it's not going to get bad again. It's supposed to rain all the way up until Wednesday. Right now it's Saturday, so.
It's supposed to rain starting Monday out here, but I mean, it's been cold as hell.
Yeah, it's been pretty chilly. Until the rain came, now it's all humid.
It's 14 degrees right now.
Yeah. But those movies, they still hold up. And it's funny because this time was the first time I literally caught myself looking for like other weird things in the background as opposed to just kind of paying attention to the movie itself.
Uh-huh.
And the movie still holds up, and there's all these little touches in the background that I'd never noticed that make it even better. And even the second one, and I know the flaws of the second one, but the most interesting thing
the second one are great.
Huh?
I said the flaws of the second one are great, but it's still a good movie.
It's still a great movie. It's awesome. I love it. The weirdest thing that stuck out to me for the first time about the second one that I'd never really paid attention to until now is that for some reason, and I don't know why, Ernie Hudson actually looks younger in Ghostbusters 2 than he did in Ghostbusters 1.
I think it's because he doesn't have the mustache.
The mustache is part of it, and he's got a lot more hair on his head. Yeah. But I think he also like lost weight, and of course, like none of them are smoking in the second one, even though they were chain smoking in the first one.
Right.
And there's
Winston was like my favorite character.
I remember.
You've known this. He's been my favorite character just because I always like I always have a tendency to like the quote unquote underdog, or the one that's not the main character per se. You know, the main character is the one that everybody wants to be.
Right.
And I like Winston because he was the one who kind of came in from the outside and everything. And I was kind of sad that he didn't have more lines in the first movie. You know. Mm-hmm. And after hearing that was originally supposed to go to Eddie Murphy and he was supposed to have a much bigger part, and I'm like, well, why not still give it to him? I mean, yeah, I get it. It's not Eddie Murphy, but shit,
was he even a name at that point though?
I don't know if he was or not.
Yeah, so that might have been why.
But I mean, even so, they could have. You know,
yeah,
they could have given him more parts.
The other thing I noticed also regarding Winston in the second one is the courthouse scene, which is probably one of my top favorite scenes in that movie. At the very beginning, and I never picked up on this before, at the very beginning, he's there before the trial starts. And he's talking to the guys, and then the judge is like, oh, I'm not going to deal with any mischief. I don't believe in ghosts, and blah, blah, blah. And Ernie Hudson's like, wow, this guy's an open mind or something. And then they're like, yeah, they call him the Hammer. And then he just disappears, and you assume that he would have sat in the audience, right? Right. But then at the very end, when the judge is delivering the verdict and his diatribe is setting off the slime and it makes the Scoleri brothers come out, everybody goes bolting out of the courtroom, and assumably also Winston, because he's not there to fight. Like, where does he go?
That is messed up. You know, one thing I'm glad about though is, and then we'll get off the Ghostbusters talk because we want to get into games. But one thing, this kind of goes into games in a sense. One thing I do like about the character, and I've mentioned this before, is that in the video game, you know, the characters have, you know, evolved some, and he does earn his degree. He becomes a doctor himself, and I thought that was cool. You know, to see this character evolve from someone who just came because he just needed a paycheck and he'll believe anything he wanted.
Right. Yeah, I know.
To a doctor and among their ranks.
He's like a history professor or something, isn't he?
Something like that. I don't recall because I only got so far in the game, but I remember like he says that line. It's Dr. Winston to you,
right?
Or Dr. Zedmore to you, or something like that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Right. He wasn't a scientist at all, and he decided to pursue it due to his experience with the Ghostbusters.
Exactly.
Right.
So, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
But
maybe he should have kept the mustache in the second one.
Games. Yeah, games. We actually discussed it on this podcast. Right. Well, first of all, I mean, I'm trying. You know, there wasn't a whole lot of gaming news over the break.
No. Did you do any gaming stuff over the break? Welcome to 2017. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you, too.
Thank you. Happy New Year to all our fabulous listeners out there.
Yes, especially the one that sent us that lovely fan mail.
Oh my gosh. So good. Fan mail. We've gotten a few of those now. Those fans that they enjoy being sexy and dancing in front of a cam.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Which is fine, you know, to each their own.
Right.
I'm guessing they're talking about the PlayStation Eye, so like being sexy with the Move controller while playing. Or they could be talking
about the Kinect.
Or Kinect, sure. Better with Kinect.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right? That might be what it is.
As far as gaming goes, there hasn't been much. I haven't really gotten a chance to play much of Mighty No. 9. And then I haven't played much of anything, to be honest. The only game I played, because I have better luck with the portables, because you can take it anywhere.
Right.
Is Mario Maker for the 3DS. So I'm kind of back on that kick again.
How's that going?
I am not as into it as I was the original. Not because of anything bad. It's a good game, but my problem with it is that you cannot download levels from the internet, or you can, because I haven't had a chance to do it because I spent most of winter break with my girlfriend, and the internet over there isn't that great, so I wasn't able to get a good signal. But what I believe is you can download like random levels to play on there, but like you can't, like, if you want to share a specific level with someone, you can't.
Weird.
Like it all has to be done through like you have to do it via sharing with two DSs.
Yeah. Which
was kind of a downer for me because I was like, you know, I really wanted to, like, you know, be able to share those out there. Now, that's not to say it still can't be done. I just haven't tried it yet because where I was at, I didn't have really a good internet connection. And when I got home, it was back to business, you know.
Right.
Work, come home, tired to do anything, go back, rinse and repeat.
Yeah. The drudge.
But I also, didn't play much. My son was playing King of Fighters. He got a little back into King of Fighters 14 for a little bit, and there are a couple of updates. They added another free download for an alternate costume for Athena.
Oh, right. She got a Christmas costume? Oh, no, it's her 96 costume?
Her 98 costume.
Okay.
Yeah. So, excuse me, there was that. And then there's a version, 1.10 coming out, I believe. And I think it's 1.10, I'm not sure. But it's supposed to give the characters a harder look. So they don't look so soft on their facial features.
That would be nice, especially for certain characters.
Yeah, exactly. It's not too noticeable on some characters, like Yuri. You don't really see it. But then, like, Leona, you see it, and I'm like, holy shit, she looks tired. You know.
You think they would have done it the other way around.
Right. I mean, they definitely have a harder look to them. And then you were telling me about the demo that was released, and I was gonna download it, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, this is why they did this. They're trying to attract a broader audience. That's probably why they're releasing this new version, because unfortunately a lot of people are hung up on the graphics. Like, they're really hung up on the graphics. And I know I made a big deal about the Mighty Number 9 thing on the last podcast and whatnot, but I don't think the King of Fighters 14 graphics were terrible. They weren't great.
Right.
They weren't terrible.
And
but
KOF still at least has gameplay behind it.
Right,
it's fun
exactly.
To
play. And so they are really, I think they're releasing this version to appeal to that audience that are more about the graphics. You know, and I don't know if that's going to do it much justice, but you definitely do see a difference in a lot of characters. Kyo definitely looks a lot more masculine.
Oh, thank goodness. Andy?
Yeah, Andy I've not seen. I saw Terry. I mean, he already looked
pretty
masculine.
Good, yeah.
I mean, he just has a harder look to him. They all do, basically. But like I said, it's more noticeable in some than others. But I decided I'm just gonna wait for the update so I can see everything at once. And then they're adding new colors for characters.
As long as they're free.
Oh yeah, they're free. The update's free. The only DLC you have to pay for right now is Nightmare Geese.
Oh, okay.
And if you want dynamic themes, there are some that are free and some that aren't.
Yeah, they had released a whole bunch of Christmas ones over the break. Does it have the color editor from KOF 13?
No.
No, that's too bad.
No, I think they wanted to focus more on getting this game right for the system. So, and I mean, it did. I'm going to assume it did well enough because there's an arcade version coming out now.
Right.
So
at least
we'll
in
see
Japan.
how that goes. In Japan, but
those games always
maybe
do better in Japan, anyways.
Maybe that will lead to King of Fighters 14 Arcade Edition for Steam.
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, I'm kind of expecting that to happen now. The game has done well enough to where it was getting, like with the Game Awards, it was getting some nominations for. What was it? Did it get nominated for a Game Awards?
It did, Best Fighter.
Yeah, it's been getting nominated for like some awards here for Best Game here and there. I haven't really watched the YouTube videos, but I've noticed them like on the thumbnails, Best Fighting Game, and like sometimes King of Fighters appeared in the thumbnails. Nice. So I was like, oh, okay, it's getting some recognition. That's good.
It's doing better. High hopes. It sounds like SNK is poised. They've been hinting at maybe they're going to start working on some other titles as well, bringing back some. It sounds like Metal Slug, of course, and Samurai Showdown possibly. Oh, and a new Garo.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny because I was they've been talking about another Garo game for years. Like, apparently Mark of the Wolves 2 is still in development.
God, I hope it stays 2D. It probably won't, but
at this point I'm doubting it. But I can live with the 3D as long as they try to keep the gameplay the same.
Yeah, keep that combo system going.
Exactly.
Well, for anybody who hasn't played Garo Mark of the Wolves, don't be fooled. It's basically Fatal Fury 4 or 5 if you don't count Real Bout as 4.
Actually, technically, it's Fatal Fury 7.
I'm not counting some of these things, all right? Updates don't matter to me.
Well,
and Wild Ambition? What, are you counting Wild Ambition?
No, not counting Wild Ambition, because, okay, you've got... When you get to Real Bout 2, the intro says... hold on. Okay, there's Fatal Fury Special, Fatal Fury 3... Fatal Fury 2, Fatal Fury Special, Fatal Fury 3, Real Bout... Real Bout Special, Real Bout 2... Okay, so the only one they don't necessarily count is probably Fatal Fury Special. but when you get to Real Bout 2, it says it's episode 6. So I'm like, okay, we're going the Star Wars route. I'm like, I don't know how this is episode 6 because Real Bout 2 barely has a story.
Yeah. Real Bout Special wasn't even that much different from Real Bout.
No, not really. I mean, they changed levels and they gave characters some new songs.
Yeah.
But that's what that period, those 3 games there, the Real Bout games, is what I like to refer to as their lazy period, because even though they made changes and tweaks to the gameplay and the stages, they got really lazy with the music, and even the stages, they were sharing stages at this point.
That's true. I have a lot of fond memories of Real Bout Special, though.
Yeah, I remember you played that a lot.
It was fun. I got real into the combo system on that game.
Yeah, I tried playing it not too long ago, and man, I'm rusty.
It's tough, man. I think games like that, there's such a steep learning curve that's probably the initial thing that tends to drive a lot of people away, more so than the graphics. Or even the art style, because I think a lot of people would admit the art style in Neo Geo games is pretty flash.
Yeah,
it is so much fun. It is tough. It is there's a combo system there to pick up. It's a lot like Real Bout. It feels more like Real Bout than any of the other previous Fatal Fury games, but it's just there's something more in depth about it, and yet a little bit more simplified.
Well, yeah, because they went back to the whole. They stopped using that 3-button system where it was just like
punch, kick, and throw,
punch, kick, and hard.
Yeah, hard
hit or whatever it was. Yeah, it wasn't even a kick or a punch. It was just a hard hit button. And they got rid of the planes and whatnot, but it was like Fatal Fury meets Street Fighter 3, because I mean the game was, especially for being on the Neo Geo, it was so impressive how well those graphics are.
Yeah, it was pretty. The music obviously started to suffer at that point, but God, it's so pretty to look at.
I still think
it's okay.
I still think it.
I mean, the songs themselves are good. It's the processor, the actual music processor, for me.
But for that, even then, I was impressed with the music. I was like, wow, all this, and they were still able to cram good music in there. I think their lowest point as far as music goes is King of Fighters 2001. But that could be a whole podcast in itself.
Right.
I could say everything wrong with that game, and yeah, it's well known that I hate this. That of all the King of Fighters games, that's the one I hate. Yeah. I hate it story-wise, I hate it music-wise, I hate it character-wise. But anyways, going back to it, King of Fighters, not King of Fighters, Jesus, God Mark of the Wolves, it was just released on PlayStation 4 as a DLC.
Go grab it
DLC, up. Excuse me, as a excuse me?
Go grab it up, man. If you like old 2D fighters, man, this is probably one of the best.
Yeah, this game came out around the time of around the same time Street Fighter 3 came out. And it was looking,
I'd put them on equal footing. The only advantage I would say Street Fighter 3 gets is the fact that it has a third impact. And so it took 2 iterations for it to be slightly better than Mark of the Wolves, just because there's more characters and a bit more to do. But that's them looking at an old product and being like, oh, how can we make this better? Whereas Mark of the Wolves is like, here's Mark of the Wolves. That's it.
Right.
That's all you're getting.
Oh, they did a really good job. I mean, they took it back to it's Fatal, not even be past their Fatal Fury 2 things. I mean, because all the Fatal Fury games before that, like with the exception of the first game, they had one screen and dialogue, and that's about it. Or like if you had an ending, it played the same music, but then it would just play show images. This game actually does the traditional fighting game thing. You have your character, they have the cutscenes, which that was a TSK tradition. They have their cutscenes, and you have actual endings where they'll talk and they'll have dialogue and whatnot.
Yeah.
You play as what's the one guy that keeps reminding me of Yori, Freeman, the guy with this claws. He uses his claws, and he's like his hair is hanging down and everything.
Right.
his ending, he's on top of a church, and I think it's the one, where you're fighting there, and the police are after him, and they fucking shoot him. It's just an intense ending, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty deep for a video game, for a fighting game.
Yeah. That game it was just a lot like Street Fighter 3. It was a huge shot in the arm, where like Street Fighter 3, you basically just had Ken and Ryu. I'm talking about vanilla Street Fighter 3. You basically had Ken and Ryu and a whole bunch of newbies. Right? Yeah. And
that's more or less what this was.
And it was.
This
it was Terry Bogard and a whole bunch of newbies. Some of the newbies were related to prior characters. If you've played SNK versus Capcom, Rock Howard. This is where Rock Howard came from, was this game.
Right. The one character that probably besides Terry that would probably be familiar as far as like Street Fighter, Art of Fighting, would be Marco Rodriguez, aka Kushnud Butt.
There you go.
I hate that name. I liked Marco Rodriguez a bit more. He has a cameo at the end of KOF 14, by the way.
That's great. Do they call him Butt? Tell me they call him Butt.
They call him Butt.
Sweet.
Yeah, they stuck with the American name. Kushnud Butt is his American name, people.
That's so funny. It should totally be the other way around.
You'd think so. I mean, even the Japanese version, the announcer says Marco Rodriguez. Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing. That is the most monotone announcer in any game.
It does sound pretty boring.
He's like, round 1, fight.
Yeah.
But then, like, when he says the name, Terry Bogard versus Kine, and I don't remember the guy's last name, the last boss, Kine.
Oh.
He says, Kine. Like, oh my god, what's wrong with your voice?
Can we do another take of that? No, we don't. Yeah, we don't need to do it. Oh, okay, move on.
Yeah, my guess was because the more I hear it, I think it's the accent. Actually, no, there was one other monotone announcer. It's probably the same guy because it did come out around the same time. Sounds like the King of Fighters 99 announcer.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. In fact, I think that is the same guy.
It could be because in King of Fighters, this is the other thing. I think he has a problem pronouncing words with I in it because he also says in King of Fighters 99, time over.
Well, if that's the case, you just cinched the fact that he is definitely a Japanese guy who just learned English really, really well, but still has trouble with a few words.
Yeah, I mean, he pronounces it really slow. The Griffin versus what are the guys' names? I only know like their first name, but there's like Ryan and Kim Jae Hoon versus Kim Don Won. So, but yeah, like I said, Gato Maki the Wolves, good game. I highly recommend it. It's on PlayStation 4. I don't know if it's on Steam or not. But SNK.
It is on Steam.
That, I have it. You want. Oh, there you go. You want to talk about a company that doesn't want to let their properties die? SNK. But I would say in this case, rightfully so, because they do put out good games. And I'm actually, after listening to a Metal Slug retrospective. I actually want to try this now. I'm particularly Metal Slug 7 because apparently Ralph Clark and Leona are playable characters in the game.
That's cool. Metal Slug is one of those games that just had such a long legacy and a lot of fans, but it's never really reached that pinnacle where it's like you hear everybody. Like nobody ever regards it as like the best like run and gun Contra type game.
Right.
But then if you say Metal Slug to somebody, like somebody who's actually in the know about video games, they're like, yeah, Metal Slug! It's so weird.
Right. And I've never played it because I never had any interest in the series.
I've tried it. It's fine. It's a little too hard for me. But it's the same thing with like Contra. Yeah, like I'll get to level 2 or level 3 and I'm like, yeah, it's fine. That's good. I had a good time. That's enough.
Right. Well, I mean, hopefully that announcement thing comes true because I'm really hoping for that.
I think it should. I mean, despite the fact that it hasn't surpassed Street Fighter V, it's still, I think, regarded as a really good attempt.
And I'm still irked by that. I'm still irked by that. I know I keep going on and on about it, but
it's name brand recognition, man. Street Fighter is the Kleenex of fighting games.
I get it, but it's like, and I'm not saying that Street Fighter V isn't a bad game. It's just that it just kind of is a testament to how forgiving people are about things. Like, I mean, yeah, I'll still purchase the game, but I've waited. I was gonna get the limited edition, and when I heard that it was bare bones and only so many characters, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do this. It's not worth my $60. And no arcade mode, which as far as I know, still doesn't have one.
I have no idea. Welcome to 2017, folks. We're still having the same conversations.
Yeah, I know. I keep going on about it, but the point of that is that it's just a testament to how forgiving people are, and then they don't want to give this other stuff a chance. And I'm guilty of that too. I've done it myself, and regretfully so, because I've regretted not playing the Metal Slug series, and now that I'm hearing about it, I'm kind of like, I probably didn't give this game a fair chance, and now I want to play it, So, there's that. But, speaking of properties that we'd like to see re-released, there was also the announcement of Double Dragon 4.
So, clearly, somebody in the industry is listening to our podcast.
Right.
Because this whole game seems to fall in line with at least 2 different episodes that we've talked about now.
Right. Now, technically, this game should be called Double Dragon 6, but apparently, I guess Super Double Dragon and Double Dragon 5 on the Super Nintendo doesn't count.
Yeah, no.
Double Dragon 5, rightfully so, because they based off the American cartoon, which was awful, and they made it a fighting game.
They're straight up retconning.
But they...
Would you say they're retro-conning?
Go home.
I am.
Go to your room.
What are your thoughts?
I'm excited because they are doing it the old school. At the same time, it's like I don't want this to become something that's gonna turn into a dying trend, because it started with Mega Man,
right?
Mega Man 9,
right?
And that was cool. And then they ended up with the Mega Man 10. Okay, cool. They're doing a Sonic one with their retro graphics, but that's 16 bits. But at least with Sonic, they're actually adding more frames of animation. They're still trying to modernize it somewhat.
Right.
And then they're doing Double Dragon 4. They're doing Double Dragon 4, and it's going to be NES style, which I think is cool, but at the same time, it's kind of like, it's going to start to get old if you keep doing this with other properties. It's like, a lot of people wanted to see a Mega Man X in the 16-bit style. Personally, I like the 32-bit style in the Mega Man X series. That's just me. But it looks fun. And it looks like, because it's updated hardware, it's coming out on PS4 and Steam, they are putting in more enemies and whatnot, and it looks like Double Dragon 2 graphics mixed with Double Dragon 1 graphics, because Abobo looks like he does a Double Dragon 1.
Right. Well, that's just an iconic look for Abobo at this point.
Well, yeah, especially after that game.
I'm not too thrilled about this.
You're not thrilled about it?
Believe it or not.
Why is
I have
that?
a number of qualms, ranging from the picky and nerdy all the way to the, that's kind of legit.
What are your qualms?
Okay, my first and biggest qualm is that I'm a Sega fanboy, and we all know that the Master System version was the superior of the 2 versions of Double Dragon already. So my first thought was like, it's based on the NES classic Double Dragon, and then I was like, oh, so it's only going to be 1 player. But
okay. I gotta stop you right there, because it's actually based on Double Dragon 2.
Yeah. That's my other problem, actually. So, Double Dragon is not a Nintendo game. Double Dragon is an arcade game. When Double Dragon originally came out, it looked very pretty. For the time.
Right.
The NES version is passable. It looks nice. But it definitely looks like the NES version. And in the NES versions, they added in a lot of those platforming stages.
Right.
And so far, all I've seen in this trailer is platforming stages.
Well, yeah, there is that.
I didn't like those platforming stages. I'm sure some people did, but for me, it was like that wasn't. Again, I spent most of my time playing Double Dragon on the Master System, which didn't have any extra stuff added into it. It was just an arcade port, and so it's that Final Fight style of you've got a bit of range all around the screen to move around up, down, left, and right, not just left and right. So the whole platforming part of Double Dragon is not a nostalgic thing for me to begin with, and so I never really cared for that stuff. I was like, why is this? Just seems like it's there just to be extra stuff.
Right.
Didn't really add anything to the experience, and it seemed, it honestly seemed like a step backwards. Even back then to me, I was like, why does this look like this? Why are we climbing ladders now?
Right.
But it's weird because I've never really regarded Double Dragon as like one of my favorite franchises of all time, but we seem to talk about it a lot on the show.
It wasn't mine either, but it was my first foray into like street fighting games.
Yeah, there's a history there.
For a lot of people.
Like, I have a lot more memories of playing Battletoads Double Dragon.
Yes.
Which I'm sure does not count as one of the 4 Double Dragon games either.
No, it does not. Because I don't think having Billy and Jimmy pop their eyes out and pointing at a boss when, all like their chicken shits and whatnot, is very tough looking for Double Dragon.
I guess not.
But no.
Those are my memories of Double Dragon.
That was one problem I did have with Battletoads. It was okay. Well, the fact that they're already fighting with giant toads. Okay, there was that.
You can overlook it though. It's in the title. Like if that surprises you, there's something wrong. You've completely misunderstood what the game was.
No, the only problem I had with it was that they did that. Like when there was a boss, they had that reaction. And I'm like, that's not Double Dragon character.
That was weird. Like, it made sense for the Paddletoads to do it because... Did I say Paddletoads? The Battletoads to do it because... just because they are goofy. Like, everything about them is very cartoony and comic booky. But Double Dragon, at least up to that point, was never really seen that way.
Right.
And so it's like, you can have the Battletoads react that way, but Bimmy and Jimmy don't have to. They can react a different way. They don't have to be so cartoony.
Well, maybe that's why it was Bimmy and Jimmy and not Billy and Jimmy. No. They just spelled the name wrong. It's that alternate universe thing that James Rolfe was talking about.
The Double Dragon-verse.
There you go. And then of course, like I said, Double Dragon 5 was no.
Yeah. The less said, the better.
Yeah, exactly. But kind of going off topic, but staying on topic, there was the arcade game by SNK. Not SNK. It was actually. Yeah, what was it? Was it Technos Japan that made the game?
I don't know offhand. I thought it was Data East.
Data East, maybe. I can't remember, but there was the Double Dragon fighting game, which actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it looked good.
It looked good. The only problem was it was based off the movie.
I never found a copy, but...
Yeah, it was on Saturn and PlayStation. But the funny thing is, like I said, it was based off the movie. The last boss is the guy from the movie, but everybody else looks like just their own thing. Like it looks all original, except that the last boss is the guy from the movie.
Much better done than Street Fighter the movie, the game, based on the movie, the game.
That game wasn't bad. I actually liked it. But I also paid $6 for it brand new at Toys R Us. So
that does tend to sway your opinion slightly.
Yeah. So worth $60? No. Worth $6? Yes. Had a good soundtrack.
There you go, folks.
So, yeah. Oh, here, a little bit of trivia. If you play the tracks of the on the Sega at least on the Sega Saturn version, I don't know about the PlayStation version. Mm-hmm. If you play the tracks, the order of the character tracks actually are in the order of the Street Fighter characters in the game. So, like, the character select, it's Ryu, and then Honda, and then
so on and so forth.
So on and so forth. It plays in that order. Mm. Like, even the characters that were supposed to be bosses, but they're not bosses, or they're not bad guys in the movie, they still play in that order. Like, the last 4 tracks are Balrog, Vega, Sagat, and Bison.
Nice. Still not as good as Street Fighter 2 Sing, but...
Oh, yeah, Street Fighter 2 Sing. What?
You don't remember that one?
No, I don't.
The soundtrack where they put words to the Street Fighter songs?
Oh, Jesus, is that what it was called?
Yep.
I never knew what it was called. I just knew we had the soundtrack.
Street Fighter 2 Sing !
Oh, dear God, yes. I remember that, and I remember we were very into that.
Oh,
and I
my
look
God,
back
it's hilarious. That Blanca song is
like,
still priceless.
That's one of those ones that I was like, skip.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, dude. The Blanca song was hilarious.
Oh, God. I thought the Zangief one was hilarious, where, because it was like, it was just so silly and so ridiculous, but I couldn't help but listen to it.
I'd say the Blanca one was sillier.
Yeah. Oh, I like the Guile one. I thought that one was pretty cool.
It goes with everything, so why wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, that's true. So, there's that. It really does go with everything. I mean, somebody said, the line, or was it, Guile's name doesn't go with everything, and they posted a video of, Mufasa actually being killed by the wildebeest, and then Simba going up and, nuzzling him and everything. And I'm like, no, it still works.
I've actually I've never seen it. I've never believed it. I was like, this doesn't go. It just sounds like you started playing Guile's theme to me, but sure, whatever.
There's some pretty funny ones out there. I think the funniest one is, there's a guy dancing and taking bites of chicken and just dancing to it. And I'm just like, it's like timed so well, like, it's like da 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 da, and he's like taking bites out of the chicken.
Hilarious. Pretty good. Oh man, I'm glad you came out of the shadows. For the longest time, it looked like half your body was Kratos from the new God of War game. There's something. So, you got a bunch of light coming at you from the left. And so the other half of your body is all like dark gray, like it looks pale almost. And then you've got the goatee going, and your hair is I can't see your hair because it's so black. You look bald. It was funny. Okay. It was the weirdest thing. I was like, oh my God, it's Kratos. He's come to kill me.
Yeah, about that. No.
I am the God of War.
Speaking of God of War and Double Dragon 4, and
our New Year's resolution is to get better at our segue.
And all that is to segue into our next topic because we're so good at it.
Good Lord. I guess that'll do it. There's we'll get into other stuff later, but oh, real quick, have you played Super Mario Run? You don't have an iPhone.
Yes.
Neither do I. Never mind.
Speaking of Double Dragon 4, Super Mario Run, because they are one and the same. Actually, the closest to that would be was it not Marvel? Nintendo versus Capcom.
Someday.
No, it's a hack. It's a hack of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. One of the selectable characters are Luigi. Not Mario. Luigi.
Because he's green.
Yeah. So, and it's funny to see that, like, whoever did this piss poor hack, they, like, had the characters, like, the walking animations, but, like, when they hit, they turn into the Ninja Turtles, so it's like, what was the point? Yeah. No, Super Mario Run. The only thing I can talk about Super Mario Run, because I have not played it myself. I do want to. It's coming out for Android soon here.
Yeah.
It's not doing so well.
It isn't. Yeah.
Some people are blaming the $10 price tag, which
it is pretty high for a mobile game. Granted, you know what? I bet you the game is probably worth $10.
It probably is,
but ain't nobody gonna pay that on a phone.
Because everyone's gotten so used to these microtransaction crap, they've just accepted it. You know, it's like, oh, I'd rather play the game for free and pay through the microtransactions. Like, really?
Yeah.
Really? It's like a win-lose situation. But you know what? One thing I don't hear everyone bring up, which is, I think, another issue, which I don't know because I don't have the game, is the word. And this would be all on Nintendo. I don't actually have a problem with the price, but I do have a problem that you have to be online to play the damn game.
That's the other, that's the other huge thing. That's ridiculous.
I honestly think that's what's killing the game. Nintendo is so. Oh my god, Nintendo! If you're listening, get over your anti-piracy stuff. It's gonna happen one way or another. I know you're protective of your stuff, but if you're willing to, go this route to prevent the game from being pirated, I'm sorry, you're going to lose a lot more fans. Yeah. People who are like the concept of Mario, have never played Mario, and now have the chance to play it on an iPhone. Oh, well, I have to pay $10 and I have to be online all the time. No.
Like, literally, where do most people play their freaking phone games? On, like, the subway, on a plane, right. When you're out in the middle of nowhere with no internet.
Right. If you don't have internet, what are you going to do?
Yeah. So you can't play that game on the train, so okay, I guess I don't need it. Can't play it on your flights, okay, I guess I don't need it.
Right, exactly. It's like, why? I mean, I get it. You want to protect your property, but you're already putting a $10 thing on this. People are going to download it, but then when word has gotten around that this DRM crap is on it, Yeah. Have you learned nothing? Do you not listen to Guru Larry?
Clearly they don't.
Yeah, clearly they don't. Latest episode was kind of pretty interesting too, since it was about Shigeru Miyamoto.
The 5 times he actually said really awful things.
4 times he was an asshole.
Yeah. So, a lot of people have been saying things about Shigeru Miyamoto lately. They've really kind of been changing my opinion on the guy.
Yeah, I mean, he is. I still think he is, one of the, top developers out there. But at the same time, some of the stuff I've been hearing about him, if it's true, I've had some less respect for him.
Yeah.
So, I've had less respect for the guy because it's like the whole thing with Rare. If that's true, and I'm going to, I like the stuff that Guru Larry puts out. That's one of those things where I'm like hoping, oh, that's not true. The whole Star Fox thing. No, I know that is true. Why don't we make it a Star Fox game and whatnot? But the whole thing about, canceling Star Fox 2 because he was in this bitter dispute with the people who made the game or whatnot, or who had developed the technology.
Right.
It's like, really? You have so many people who are wanting this game, and it was complete, and you just said, nah, cut it. Game looks amazing on Super Nintendo, and you know what? I still prefer Star Fox on the Super Nintendo over Star Fox 64. There, I said it.
I'll say it too.
Yeah, I think Star Fox on the Super Nintendo is superior.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have seen Star Fox 2 on the system.
Ain't nobody telling you to do a barrel roll.
Right. Exactly. And I've tried to get into the other games, and I just can't, because I think Star Fox 64 kind of ruined my vision of Star Fox. I actually liked it better the way it was.
Yeah. I don't know what happened there. Downward spiral.
Yeah, pretty much.
Down.
But going back to it, like, with Nintendo's whole thing, they need to step it down a bit. I get it.
Simmer down now, Nintendo.
Nintendo, you are defensive of your properties. That's okay. We get that. But when your audience starts to quote unquote suffer because of that,
your sales
you really got to stay back and look at it, because it's like, okay, now they're going to look at it. They're not going to look at it as, well, the game failed. This is why we shouldn't have done it on the phone. That's how they're going to look at it, instead of, oh, well, the game failed because we pretty much tampered with, we're pretty much screwing these people out of their data for this game, for people who are on the go.
And making it not a cell phone game. As not a cell phone game as possible.
Right, exactly. So, because this game should be selling. It's Super Mario.
I mean, it looks nice too.
Exactly, it looks like Super Mario.
Super Mario
Wii or U.
Oh yeah.
As much as I like Super Mario Bros. U, the one thing I do not like is their main, is their music. The music, I actually think that's the least appealing music, from the Super Mario series.
Right. Is that where the bubbles came from?
The bubbles.
This is a bubble mechanic in one of those games.
Oh, where, like, if you're playing multiplayer and then one of the characters are too far behind, they end up in a bubble?
Yeah, or you can even change yourself into a bubble if you press a button.
Yeah, that's not very helpful.
Yeah, that's in the
game,
game,
That's not helpful, though, because, that's only a multiplayer mode.
No, but it's in Super Mario Run, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But, no, as far as the music goes, that's the most unappealing music, because it's like, they use new music, except for the castle, because they have to reuse. And that's one thing, they really need to use that Super Mario, the first new Super Mario Brothers castle music, because that was the best one. And they stuck with this shitty one that's grown on me, but I still think it's shitty compared to the original. It's like, okay, you use some new music and use some more appealing music. I heard the original music for New Super Mario Brothers now, and I'm like, okay, why didn't you just modify this and use this for the game mechanic? Because I don't know if you played any of the new Super Mario Bros. Games.
I haven't. I always wanted to.
But the new Super Mario Bros. Games use this mechanic, and I don't know if it's used in Super Mario Run or not. But they actually use the music as part of the game's mechanic. So, like, during the music, you'll hear them go, ba, 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 like that, depending on what part of the music they play that at. And when that happens, the enemies will react to that. So, like, it wasn't done very well on the DS version just because it was limited with animation, but, like, on the Wii version, the turtles will dance. They'll do this. Or, like, the Goombas will jump, or, like, the fish will twirl or something. And it actually affects the gameplay, because then it's like, oh, well, they're about to do this now. Like, you think they're going to keep walking, but they stop to dance to the music, and it's like, oh,
Oh, that's weird. No, I don't think it does that, though. Seems like a mix of classic and not
And
classic.
they've continued with it, but they use a Super Mario Wii or U version, and I was just like, oh, why did they stick to this one? They even used it in Super Mario Maker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see where Nintendo's mobile future lies. I
personally don't think they're gonna have one, because they're gonna blame the game on poor sales, because they're not gonna think there's a market for it, when in fact it's that DRM crap.
Right. Well, yeah, they got two different things working now that didn't work out well. So Miitomo was popular for about a week.
Right.
And then it stopped being popular. And now there's this, and so far the only thing associated with them that's popular was Pokemon Go. And they didn't really have much hand in that, it sounds like.
Right.
And so I don't know if they're going to look at that and be like, well, how come we can't do Pokemon Go? It's our freaking game. Or if they're just going to be like, forget about it. Which is fine. Yeah. They really don't need to, especially with the Switch coming out.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna kind of change the way people play games. I have a feeling.
I think so too, but I also think it's going to also increase. That there's going to be someone that's going to ruin it for everyone. They're going to be like, okay, this is a robbery. Have me your entire system right now.
That's not going to change anything for Nintendo.
Oh, I know, but people are going to be like, eh.
I mean, it's been since the GameCube that they haven't come out with a system that's centered around a gimmick.
That's true.
This isn't so much a gimmick as it is form factor. Like, you can either play it at home or play it when you're going anywhere, and aside from that, there's really nothing special about it. It's mostly just a system that's two different kinds of systems.
I just hope they bring Mario Maker to the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how they're going to be able to make that happen? I mean, I guess you could probably do it without dual screen, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I hardly ever use both screens on the Wii U. In fact, it's actually a little distracting to have two screens on the 3DS because I keep wanting to touch the top screen.
I'm sure they will. It sounds like they've abandoned the Wii U pretty quickly, so I'm sure they're going to start moving whatever projects they've had over to the Switch.
Right.
Which means it's going to be a great 2017.
Mm-hmm.
3 months away, aren't we? 2 months, 2.5 months, I think, maybe now from the Switch.
Yeah.
Comes out in March.
Yep. I won't be able to get one.
Probably me neither. We'll see.
So, but I'm still pretty excited about
something
it.
To come out, something to look forward to. But we know that's coming out. What about stuff that's not coming out? What about stuff that hasn't been announced? Maverick.
Stuff that I'd like to see.
Stuff that you would like to see. It's a new year. It's time for some new games to get announced. Let's talk about it. What would we like to see? What are your hopes and aspirations for announcements in 2017?
I'd like to see Double Dragon 5.
Good lord.
Seriously. It's hard to say because I haven't really thought of too many. I haven't thought of too many games, mostly reboots or whatnot, or at least new games in the series.
Mm-hmm.
I am definitely hoping for another. I'm definitely hoping that like I said, another Mario Maker on the Switch.
Right.
Or an updated version like Super Mario Maker 2 with more features than what they already have. I mean, they have quite a bit of features, but there's definitely room for more that they can do. And I would hope that if they come out with a Switch version of the game, that they could
Mario RPG graphics.
Yeah, that could work. But I think that won't happen.
It's about dreams, Maverick.
Right. A lot of people are like asking why Super Mario Bros. 2 wasn't incorporated into the game, and it's like, well, Mario 2 is a different beast than the original, so it'd be a little more hard to implement.
Yeah, the mechanics are different completely.
Exactly.
Well, some of it's been incorporated, but still.
Right, exactly. I had this in mind in the back of my head, and I forgot to write it down because there were quite a few games I do want to see come out. I'm actually still hoping for retro-wise. I'm still kind of holding out hope that Square will either remake or just release Seiken Densetsu 3.
Yeah.
Because I mean, by this time, they have to have seen the fan translations and know that it's possible to make this game.
Mm.
I
wonder if they just wonder if it's me speaking bad English, or if it's worth it to them at this point to localize, a 20-year-old game at this point.
People still ask for it.
I know. I'm just saying, wasn't there a Tales game or something that came out on the Wii that people had to petition for it to come out because they weren't going to release it?
I think so.
Yeah, there was some RPG that came out on the Wii. or was it the Wii U? I don't know. But like people were petitioning for them to localize it because there was no plans and there was enough vocal.
Was it The Last Story?
No, that doesn't sound right.
Or Xenoblade?
Xenoblade
Chronicles?
There it is, Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yes, that game. That game has a little bit of controversy behind it, not because of the game itself.
Well, we're not going to get into that right now. But
cool.
So
yeah,
but that took a lot of work to get that going, and it was at least a modern game. Like they could put that in store shelves. Seiken Densetsu 3, they wouldn't. It'd go straight to a virtual console or Steam or something like that.
I mean, I'd say it's possible. I mean, if they don't want to put the work into it, look for the people who translated it and give them some kind of credit for it.
Yeah.
You know, say, hey, but then it's like, but at the same time, it's like, well, these guys did this to our property, so blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it's like, can you not see that people want this? I mean, that's the thing I've never gotten. It's like, I get it when there's like a full-blown game, like, okay, they have the remake of Metroid 2 that came out and got pulled by Nintendo, you know? And so I get it to an extent, but like this is a game that's just already been out and has just been translated. You know? And I get it because the game is complex. I mean, I still haven't figured it out completely just because I haven't played it, but I did have the Japanese version at one point in time, and the game has 3 different final bosses depending on which characters you select. So I get why it's
with multiple paths.
Right, exactly. Because one boss is like a dark lich, and the other one's an archdemon, and the other one's a giant dragon.
Cool.
So it's not like Secret of Mana, where the last boss was Flammy, you know?
Right. Which, if people are wondering what this alien language that we're speaking of is, Seiken Densetsu 3 would technically be Secret of Mana 2.
2, yeah. So, or Final Fantasy Adventure 3, because that's what it was originally called, although they started going with the Mana theme, because they re-released...
Those games felt so different. It was totally fine to just separate those into different series.
Oh yeah, I mean, I get it. I get why they did it, though. It's because, it's Final Fantasy, you know?
Right? It's all in the same world, man, even though none of these games are linked anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I look back on some things, like, gaming-wise, that we thought were so dumb, and, like, I understand it more now. You know, especially, like, I've played the Japanese... I have it, for the Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2. And, I always thought, well, why don't they bring it here? And I was like, are we, did they think we're too dumb? No, the game is hard as hell. I mean, that game really, as a child, I would be frustrated playing that game.
Wow.
And so I get why they do some of this stuff, but then, like, when it came to, like, Final Fantasy V, which didn't get localized till years later, yeah, it has a complex system also, but it was something that I could learn, and it's one of my favorite Final Fantasy games simply because of all the customization you can do to your character.
Right, which now at this point seems like a normal thing in a Final Fantasy game.
Right, exactly. So,
Take a chance. Square.
Exactly.
Again. Take another chance. Take 2 chances.
Exactly. Or release some, retro-wise, I'd like them to take chances with that. As popular as they were, I was kind of surprised the, Final Fantasy Legend games out here. They weren't really Final Fantasy Legend. They weren't really Final Fantasy games, period.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they are actually part of the Saga series. It's Saga 1, 2, and 3.
Interesting.
So yeah.
That's weird. See, and then they're piggybacking on name brand recognition. But then Secret of Mana, they didn't want to.
I think they just wanted to make it its own thing, because I remember when it was announced on Nintendo Power, it was originally titled Final Fantasy Adventure 2.
Weird.
Yeah, and then they did with, they did Secret of Mana, and then in America, they released on PlayStation, Legend of Mana, and then, Children of Mana, I think, on the DS. There were 2 Mana games on the DS. And then there was Secret of, or Sword of Mana, which was a reissue of the very first game, which was originally titled Final Fantasy Adventure. It was just updated to look like, more in line with the Mana series by this point. So, yeah, reissues, I'd like to see Square do that. I mean, off topic really quick, I've heard more about Final Fantasy 15. I'm interested in playing it.
What was Secret of Evermore?
Huh?
Secret of Evermore, was that another one?
Secret of Evermore was American made.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was American made. It was made by American audience, and they explained why I didn't like it, because I didn't find it as appealing when I rented it.
Well, I mean, that's the feeling would be, immediately noticeable. There's just a different way that Westerners and Japanese kind of attack RPGs and storytelling therein.
Honestly, you want to know? We've talked about this so many times, but you really want to know what killed it for me?
The music?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
It had a lousy soundtrack, because, in all honesty, it's actually it was a decent game. I'm not going to sit here and say it was like, Secret of Mana levels, but the soundtrack killed it for me. It was very mellow and laid back.
Oh, that's not fun. I mean, there's times for that, but an entire game of that ain't fun.
Yeah, it just didn't appeal to me. So I rented it, I played it for like 2 days, and then I was like, no, I'm done with this.
Wow. Take that, Secret of Evermore. Thumbs down.
Yep. But as I was stating really quick, I played Final Fantasy 15. I'm interested in playing it. Apparently, it is an action RPG. It's not your traditional Final Fantasy RPG. I did not know that, and just hearing about the story itself, because I was listening to 107 Facts, and I was listening to one on Final Fantasy 15, and I was like, oh, this actually sounds really interesting. Maybe I should play it.
Wow.
So, yeah. Anyway.
We'll see if I ever get around to it.
Yeah. Isn't it on PC?
It is.
Oh, it is?
Whether we get to it or not is a whole other thing. Resident Evil 7 also comes out this month, so...
Yes,
there's a lot going on. I'm still trying to get my hands on a full copy of Overwatch, so... Lots to do.
Well, what would you like to see?
What would
I'm starting off, but that's not all I want to see. But
right. First on my list, I would really like to see, and I know I'm not the only one now, cries for this are getting louder and louder every year. A new Skies of Arcadia.
Really?
Subtitle, God damn it. Subtitle, hurry up.
People want a sequel to that?
Yes, dude. That game was so much fun. I had a roommate in the army actually listens to the show. And basically
nice.
Watched me play through this whole game. More or less. Like, it was fun to watch, apparently. As it was to play.
I had the updated version on GameCube. The Skies of Arcadia Legend, and I played it like once and I never touched it again, and not because it wasn't fun, it's just life got in the way.
Oh, don't let life get in the way of this game, dude. It's so fun. It's what's the term nowadays is jolly. I hear so much. It's a jolly game.
It must be a California thing, because I've not heard it out here.
I don't know. It's at least in gaming circles. At least with Easy Allies. It's just a fun game. It makes you feel good. Even when sad stuff happens. But this was back when I was into the whole Grandia kick, which maybe that's another one I should add to the list.
Grandia 4.
I want to see a new Grandia. I would really love to see the original Grandia updated for HD.
That'd be interesting.
Because while it was very fun, because it was originally made on the Saturn, like, it's really kind of hard to look at times with the 2D characters and then the Saturn polygons, which, let's face it, aren't very nice. They did what they could, though. The art style in that game is so wonderful. That game is so good, Grandia 1. But Skies of Arcadia I would love to see. They all kind of fell into that same style of RPG for that time. Just Grandia 2, and Skies of Arcadia, like in that time frame between the Saturn and the Dreamcast, were probably my favorites.
I see.
At the time. So good.
Well, one series I'd like to see make a comeback in a proper way. Streets of Rage.
For once, at some point, and don't...
I'd like to see a Streets of Rage 4.
Given recent events, I really don't want to see a new Streets of Rage game with 16-bit graphics.
Oh, no, I'm not looking for... Sorry. I'm not asking for a 16-bit one. I'm talking about...
I'm just saying,
bring out a modern...
Somebody's got the seed planted in their head now of, maybe we should just bring this as a retro game.
No. Bring out an actual sequel, Streets of Rage 4. I'm not asking for a retro game. I want the next game in the series that is updated for modern times.
Yep.
You know, if you're still gonna make it a beat 'em up, make it a beat 'em up, but make it graphically, graphically updated for today's consoles.
Yeah, whether that's 2D or 3D is up to you. I would hope.
Right.
But make it look nice, and God's sakes, if that soundtrack sucks, you've screwed up the entire game.
Oh yeah, no, you definitely want the original creator back for that. Yeah. Even though Streets of Rage 3 was experimental and a lot of people didn't like it, P.S. I did. They really need to bring it back. Oh, what's his name? Yuzo something.
I'm not sure.
Some fan I am. They need to bring him back if they do this, because I would like to see a game in the series that would be current. If they're going after Mr. X still, or somebody else, or something like reflective of today's
hackers.
Hackers. They're going after hackers.
A millionaire who wants to be president.
Right.
I don't know. What else do people hate nowadays?
Yeah, they can call him Mr. T. I mean, that wouldn't work. Yeah, there you go. President T, because nobody touches Mr. T.
Yeah.
I pity the fool.
I pity the fool who touches Mr.
T. Right.
Wonderful. I hope he tweets that out.
Something like that. Freedom Force or Fighting Force was supposed to be like the next Streets of Rage game.
No.
I heard it was garbage.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Total garbage. And garbage that managed to get a even more garbage sequel.
Right? Yeah. Just let the team who handled the original game, do it. Again, as a sequel, not a sequel with not the retro graphics. Don't do Double Dragon 4.
Don't do that.
Because I'm happy about Double Dragon 4, but it is a trend that's gonna get old very fast, because there are so many people nowadays that aren't for this. Personally, I'd like to see. I would like to see more 16-bit games. Get that kind of treatment, but it's not going to happen. And I know Streets of Rage is one of them, but I think Streets of Rage also needs a proper update first.
Yeah, I'm still all for the do a DuckTales on all those old games. That's what I want to see.
Right.
DuckTales them up.
There you go.
Life is like a hurricane.
It'd be nice to see something from that series again. Hell, rebooted as Bare Knuckle.
You could call it Streets of Rage 4 Bare Knuckle.
Right, exactly. Do what Resident Evil 7 is doing, basically. Yuzo Koshiro.
There we go.
That's his name.
Koshiro.
Yeah.
Well, my next one is easy. We already kind of talked about it. I just want KOF 14 on the PC. Can we announce that this year, please? Can we just say KOF 14 on the PC?
Arcade edition.
Arcade edition, whatever. Add some bells and whistles to it if you want. It's fine.
Right.
Extra character. I'll take it. But I'd like that.
My son keeps asking me, do you think they're gonna add the Orochi team? He really likes the Orochi team. He wants to see them come back.
Oh! You're talking about Chris and
KOF. Yeah, Chris and
Kyoshiro and whatever.
Yashiro and Shermie.
Yeah, Shermie. There we go. So I wanted to call her Maggie for some reason.
Yeah, Yashiro, Maggie, and Chris. Okay.
Chris, yeah, Maggie.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like.
I love Shermie too. I don't know how I forgot her name.
Right.
I used to main Shermie for a long time. Till they gimped her.
I'm trying to think of something more recent that I played. I mean, I already got my wish of Dead Rising 4 coming out. I just can't get it right now.
Right. I've got one that you might like.
What's that?
Third one on my list. I would like to see the rest of the Justice League playable in the Arkham universe.
That'd be nice.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I want to see an Arkham, like Justice League Arkham or something, or you get a chance to play as all the Justice League in the Arkham universe.
Well, don't even name it Arkham at this point, because
just I think it's got a name brand recognition thing, like just to let people know that it's it's that same Arkham universe. But this time it's not just Batman.
Justice League Arkham.
Especially with a lot of these Unseen 64 videos I've been watching lately. It was like a Flash game that was supposed to come out that looked pretty good, a Superman game that was supposed to come out that looked pretty good. Like, right now we've got really excellent comic book games in Batman. Let's put the rest of the Justice League in there now.
You know, I'd like to see, you brought this up, and I thought about this just now. There was a Superman game, which is essentially supposed to be Superman 64 on the PlayStation, that was supposed to come out. But the game was totally refined because they didn't want it to be the abomination that Superman 64 was. And this actually looked really good. Like, I mean, they even for PlayStation 1, they were, these graphics looked almost like, not all exactly like, but I mean, they looked very close to the cartoon show at the time.
Nice.
And they lost the license.
Oh no!
Before they could finish it, before they could publish it, they lost the license.
That sucks.
And, it'd be nice to see them look back and like, hey, let's port this over to PS4 and or whatever modern systems right now and update the graphics. Try to get this out. But I mean, it's been such a long time since we've seen that style of animation that I don't know if that would even be relevant at this point.
I think it could be. I mean, in an era where everybody's clamoring for nostalgia, like getting something that looks like you're playing an episode of, Batman Superman Adventures or the original Batman animated series, I think you could really
we kind of
push that right now. Yeah, we did kind of get some of that stuff, but it would look even better now.
Right, because I had Batman Vengeance on GameCube, and that was really good, and that felt like playing an episode of the game.
Cartoon?
Or the cartoon, excuse me. And then there was the Rise of Sinsu, which it was good. The problem with it was it's ridiculously hard. Like, it had a very unforgiving timer.
Oh, timers are the worst. It's timers in games.
Well, because the first game was more of an action adventure, and the second one was like a beat 'em up.
Still, man.
Yeah,
timers ain't cool.
And, the timer kind of killed the game, and that was the biggest complaint about it. And then there was Superman Shadow of Apocalypse, which also looked like you were playing the TV show. It used cel-shaded graphics, so it looked very cartoony. But here's one thing that annoyed me, and I don't know how this was possible. They did not have rights to the theme song for that show.
That's funny.
You know, and I'm like, how can you have the license to use this but not the music? That makes no sense. I mean, you know, and there's this old, there was that Angry Video Game Nerd video where he's like, why can't they play the Superman theme, blah, 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 and this and that? Well, in this case, it would actually be a theme for the theme show, which, you know, it's
the theme show?
For the theme, so for the TV show. There's like da-da-da, 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 you know.
They should just use your recording.
Huh?
They should just use your recording. In fact, I'm gonna cut that out and just send it to them.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they'll finally release the game.
Yeah, that's what they'll do. You hear that, people?
You just boot up the game, it's just you. Da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, press start, da-da-da-da.
Da-da-da-da. Outside of the DC stuff, one thing I'd like to see, and this is kind of being done on PC, but I'd like to see it done in the game, is an update for Grand Theft Auto 5 where you can actually go to Liberty City online.
Oh, yeah.
Because that would be an interesting experience. I do have Grand Theft Auto 4. It's very different from Grand Theft Auto 5 in my opinion. Grand Theft Auto 5 is tweaked and it's like perfect, whereas Grand Theft Auto 4 still has the weird controls from the older games and whatnot. But I mean, it's you know, each game gets refined and it's better and better and better.
Right.
But 5 is like almost perfect, and that would just make a perfect game even better, you know?
Yeah.
So, or even like, and because of all the updates and everything, they haven't done what they've done in the past, which is have the expansion packs.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, they haven't done that this time around, where they were doing that with Grand Theft Auto 4. They had, what was it? There was the Ballad of Gay Tony, right. And then what was the other one called? Lost and Damned, I think it was.
Something
like
that. Sounds familiar, yeah.
It had those, and I would have liked to have seen stuff like that come out, but, you know, they've been so focused on the online stuff, which it's understandable why this hasn't been done. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see, like, more story expansions, but, like, I can understand why they're not doing it.
Yeah.
And they're also working on Red Dead Redemption 2 now, so I don't think we're going to see another story mode come out of that series. So, if not that, you know, at least an announcement for Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah, although I don't know if... Probably not so close to the release of Red Dead 2, but they tend to space these things out. If anything, they'll come out with a new Bully game.
No, didn't they announce that?
I don't know.
Or was it just a reissue?
I think it was in some HD, Bully HD.
I see.
HD School. School's back in HD. HD in your face. I want to see the return of Burnout.
Which one?
Burnout.
Oh, the Burnout series?
Yes.
Oh,
I mean like a proper Burnout game.
Right.
Those games were so fun.
I can't speak because I've never played them before.
You've never played a Burnout game, sir? You have no idea what you're missing.
No.
Crashing has never been so fun in all my life.
Not played it.
It's the oddest thing to say that it feels really good to crash in that game.
That's just weird. Were those games on Genesis?
No. You might be thinking of Road Rash.
I can't remember what Burnout is.
Burnout. They were primarily on PlayStation. Majority of them were on PS2. And they're, for the most part, they're racing games, but some of the objectives are to make other cars crash.
I see.
And they would crash spectacularly, like the race would stop to show how much this car, even your own car, has crashed and exploded. And then Burnout 3 is the one that I have, and they would have events where, like, you just try to see how much destruction you could cause from one car crash. So they'd set out these stages where, like, your car would, go real fast down the street, go off of a ramp, and then crash into, like, a bunch of buses and other things, and try and cause these chain reactions of exploding cars to see, like, how much damage you could rack up.
Huh.
It was great.
Yeah.
So much fun. And the racing was good. And then the more cars that you caused to crash, it would power up your boost for your own car. And then you could boost, and the boost felt really good. It was almost like going into hyperspace, but in a car. Like, you went so fast.
Yeah, no, I've not. No.
Oh, man, dude. You gotta get a Burnout game, man. They're so fun.
Yeah, I'm not. I can barely remember what the series was to begin with. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, there's that.
I'm gonna have to fix that.
One thing I'd like to see, which I don't think is going to be done unless Capcom is starting something new. I'd like to see them come out with like maybe not a massive multiplayer. Can't say it. Massive multiplayer RPG.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even an RPG, just an online game.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not just Marvel, but the actual cinematic universe.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see something like that, where, like, I mean, I know it'd be difficult to do because they haven't fleshed out the entire this giant story that they're trying to lead up to.
Mm-hmm.
But like something that would come out in episodes. Because I mean, as much as I'm not for something like that, it would make sense with this.
There's a game kind of like that on Steam.
Is there?
But it does entail the rest of the entire Marvel universe as well, the comics universe. But like if a new movie comes out, there will be like a tie-in character that you can get.
I see.
For the game as well.
But is it an RPG or
it
an
is?
Action game?
It's an MMO, but it's more akin to like a Diablo style MMO. So like it's top down.
Oh,
you kind of click on the.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Oh well, RPG to one is potato to another. But like you can choose your character, you can buy more characters, and then like you point and click to kind of walk around the map, and then like if you want them to fight an enemy, you click on the enemy, they'll just go up there and they'll just start fighting on their own. You can like maybe tell them to do special moves, and that's about it.
So something I'd like to see is something like. Or maybe an alternate take, kind of like what Kingdom Hearts does with the movie tie-ins to some of the worlds they go to.
Mm-hmm.
They like do an alternate version of that story.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe something like that, where like they're taking on missions that are based, or like make it an Avengers game, but make it like mission based, like it's based off events from the movies, or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the TV shows, to center it around them using the likeness of these actors and whatnot, and then just have it like based all mission based, not like Grand Theft Auto style. I mean, you're gonna have that, but make it would be a little more linear, but like I'd like to see them do something with the property game wise, which is something that I know that's not their focus, but it'd be nice to see, There
really hasn't been much of anything since the Sega Iron Man games, huh?
No, not really.
They just kind of gave up on it.
I think there was a Thor game, and that's about it.
Yeah, they just do it on mobile.
Well, it's because they didn't do such great jobs with those games.
Terrible.
No, they rushed them out. And the thing that I think would be wise would be like having a game where like this is like the central hub of this series, it's Avengers styles and whatnot. Iron Man has to fight Ironmonger. I think that's the name of the villain. Or Loki's attacking, I better go after him. It's Thor. It's a Thor mission. It doesn't have to be like direct from the movie, just based on them, kind of like what Kingdom Hearts does.
Right. No, I gotcha.
So I mean, I'd like to see do something with the cinematic universe property, because as we've mentioned before, we're not big comic book readers, but we're a fan of these comic book characters.
Mm-hmm.
And since these movies have come out, this is more what I've grown to know, you know?
Right.
So, like, I'll watch Avengers Assemble on Disney XD or whatnot, and it's like, okay, this is cool, but it's not, you know, Robert Downey Jr., it's not Chris Hemsworth, it's not Scarlett Johansson.
Right.
You know, so...
It's different.
Exactly. Yeah. But so I'd like to see them do something with this, but I'm also wondering if it has to do with the actors too. I mean, it'd just be something difficult to pull off, but think of all the money they'd make.
Yeah.
Especially if they pulled this off right.
If they did it well, they would have to do it well.
Right, and you think, I mean, if you think about it, you know, I guess there was Disney Infinity, but then, you know, they were doing their own designs for that.
Yeah. At this point, something tells me that the Lego Marvel Avengers game is probably the best
it's probably
adaptation
the closest thing
so far.
To this.
Yeah.
It's quite possible. I still need to play that game.
I still haven't finished the Marvel Superheroes game. Now that we have this other Lego game, I don't know if we'll ever get back to it. 'Cause that one doesn't have toys with it. So I've only got one more idea here for mine. Kind of along the same vein, except all I wrote was open world samurais.
Oh, that's it.
That's all I wrote.
God, why is that like 5-6 months down the line? I'm gonna see like an ad for that coming soon to PS4 and Xbox One. Open world samurai.
Give it up, coming up with cool names. I think I want a game set in medieval Japan that is an open world game, but not fantastical. It seems like a lot of games that come out based in medieval Japan always have like this weird sci-fi slant or this weird fantasy slant, like Onimusha,
right?
Or there's this game coming out called Neo, which like it never looks authentically like medieval Japan. Like there's always like the armor is all like fancy pantsed up, or they mix in like some modern elements. Like I would love to just see like do what you do with Grand Theft Auto, but set it back in, you know, ancient Japan times. And maybe you can choose to be like a samurai or a ninja, and you just won't run around doing missions and stuff.
Rockstar, if you're listening, Grand Theft Auto Japan.
For real?
No, Grand Theft Auto Medieval Japan.
Rikshaw.
There you go.
Grand Theft Rikshaw. Make it happen.
There you go. How do they do transportation back then?
Rikshaw.
Or
those things where where they sit in the little cab with the sticks, and then you got 4 guys that got the sticks up on their shoulders and they're just running.
Yeah.
There's those things. I forget what those are called.
Yeah, do that, except that when you attack the guy, you try to hijack the car, they all run away.
Well, no, yeah. But I mean, even still, you like be more realistic about it. Like you could, if you wanted to be like more of like a bad character, you could rob those people on the highway as you see them going by. If that's like the kind of character you want to be, maybe that could be a mission. You know, I think isn't one of those Yakuza games supposed to be like that? I'm sure it is, but again, that's Yakuza. That's set in the modern times, which is very close.
No, I mean, there's supposed to be a Yakuza game, I think, that's supposed to be like that coming out.
Really?
I think so. Well, let me do a double check here.
Yeah, crack research. Crack it up.
Spin-offs. Hold on, let's see. Was released. There's a Dead Souls one, which is a good game. PlayStation Portable, Japan Asia, launch date, remake.
All right, let me see if I can meet you round ways.
Yeah.
Here, who gets there first?
I'm looking at like this some of these games here.
Let's see what happens here. Who goes first?
You'll probably beat me. Yakuza. Let's see. It's not Yakuza 0. which is...
Ryuga Gotoku Kenzan.
I could have sworn there was a Yakuza game that was supposed to come out like that.
Sega. Idaigeki spin-off of the Yakuza series. The game was developed and published by Sega for PlayStation 3. Released in 2008, it's the third installment in the Yakuza series and is often referred to by media
and confused with Yakuza 3.
Yakuza 3, which is Yakuza 2's actual sequel release 1 year after Kenzan. Interesting. Well, maybe we already got the game that I wanted.
You heard it first here.
A game I wanted.
The game
already
we wanted was announced in
year.
2008. It just never came out here in the US, but it doesn't matter for him because he can read Japanese.
Honto? Oh, dang. Yeah, it never came out in Japan. In America. That's another reason why I've never heard of it, I guess.
Yeah, you were talking about this, and I'm like, now that I think about it, there could have been one.
Well, I think I know what I'm going to ask my wife for when she goes back to Japan this year.
Well, there you go. You'll say, hey, bring me this.
This is what I want. Here's the name. It's easy to find. I'm going to let you know if it's any good.
There you go. And then she comes back.
My dreams and hopes are already coming true. It's going to be a great year.
It's going to be a great year. Great year in video games when we find out that the game we wanted came out in 2008, almost 10 years ago.
Almost 8 years ago now.
Yeah, almost 10 years ago, 9 years ago.
Coming up on 9 years at this point.
Yeah.
Good lord.
That is too funny.
What other games did anybody wants that already came out? Please tell us. You can hashtag wanted it's already out. And then send that to us at CrossPlat Show on the Twitter. Or, of course, if you don't like hashtags, you can still hashtag on Facebook. There's some people that are like anti-hashtag on Facebook. That just makes me want to hashtag more on Facebook.
Oh, are you one of those anti-hashtag people?
No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. That's why it makes me want to hashtag more on Facebook. Hashtag every other word.
There you go.
Yeah, we got our Facebook group at facebook.com/crossplatformshow. And of course, you can always email us at crossplatformshow@gmail.com. Do it. Or don't do it. We don't really care. It's fine. Otherwise...
Tiny Bone Stormer, go to hell.
If you're listening to the show for the first time, thank you so very much. We hope you will subscribe and continue to listen to us further. Our RSS feed can always be found on SoundCloud. We're also on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Google Play, and all that stuff. So leave a comment, leave some support, need to leave your number? I don't know. Listen to the show, please. Tell your friends. And of course, we will always be found on YouTube. Just search for Gaming Tangent Podcast and we will come up. I got to get more backlog episodes on there, but if you ever are curious and going back and seeing what we sound like in the way early times, long ago, all that stuff is up on YouTube for the time being until we can afford to do more. And definitely resolution for 2017 is get that cross-platform up and running. Trust me, it's going to happen. And I have a feeling it's going to happen in the next few months because I'm working on it. I'm motivated. I'm pumped, and I'm ready to go. Are you pumped and ready to go, Maverick? Lots to come. I have some plans for this year. Things that need to happen. Stuff that I haven't even told you about yet.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. Got some stokes in the fire. Got some flames in the pit. I got some cans of soup in the drawer.
You're platforming.
I got some, what?
You're platforming.
I'm platforming?
Yeah, you're platforming.
Plan forming. Platforming. All right. I think that's going to do it for this, our inaugural 2017 episode of Cross Platform Show. And as always, throughout the rest of this year, please continue on running and jumping.
Keep platforming, everyone.
We will see you all next week.
See you then.
Adios.
Ciao. And cut.
Ciabella.
Would you like to play again? You have selected no.